evening, my fellow countrymen and women. I address you tonight in response to credible scientific reports of a new strain of COVID-19 virus, which has been detected and reported in our SADC regional neighborhood. I also engage you tonight against the backdrop of the comprehensive measures we have adopted as a nation in response to the continuing threat of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Worldwide, the pandemic shows little signs of abating, with latest global trends and figures pointing to yet another wave, the fourth wave in our case. By yesterday, Monday, over 260 million cumulative cases of infections had been reported worldwide. Grimly, over 5 million souls have perished globally since the outbreak of the pandemic in 2019. As of yesterday, our nation, Zimbabwe, had recorded a cumulative total of 133,991 cases of infection and some 4,705 cumulative deaths since the onset of the pandemic in our country in early 2020. Our nation has done a lot to contain the pandemic, aided and guided by the World Health Organization, WHO, whose guidelines we continue to follow. We have recorded notable successes, certainly fared better than most in our region, on our African continent, and in the world. Today, we are counted among leaders when it comes to best preventive and curative practices. Let me pay tribute to you all, my fellow Zimbabweans, for heeding all the measures we have announced and adopted for our survival as a nation. This has reduced the toll which the pandemic has left on our nation. The above good progress notwithstanding, lately we have witnessed creeping complacency in most communities. Some individuals and groups are simply lowering their guard when it comes to measures we have recommended for COVID-19 pandemic. In all likelihood, this worrisome complacency is likely to get worse as the festive season approaches. Our nation thus faces the grim risk of a fourth wave, which must be avoided at all costs. What raises our concern and adds to our anxieties is the outbreak of a new strain, Omicron, detected and reported in neighboring countries only a few days ago. We face a new added risk which compounds the burden we already face and shoulder from known variants we have been grappling with since the outbreak of the pandemic. It is in view of this new ominous development that the government has decided on new enhanced measures to strengthen our national response and to protect our nation from impact of a likely fourth wave, which the new variant, Omicron, will most certainly aggravate. With immediate effect, the following measures will now apply. 1. All returning residents and visitors have to undergo PCR testing and will be quarantined at on cost for days recommended by WHO, even if they present negative PCR test results from elsewhere. 2. A daily curfew running from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. will be imposed to limit movement and hence transmission. Only essential service categories announced in previous gazettes stand exempted. 3. All shops will open for business from 07 hours and they will close for business by 1900 hours. 4. Number and behavior of all persons attending any gathering must observe and comply with WHO protocols, i.e. masking, social distancing, and sanitizing. 5. All COVID-19 related funerals will strictly be supervised by Ministry of Health and Child Care, environmental health officers, and technicians. 6. No liquor will be consumed at the bottle stores, which consequently cease to be drinking premises until further notice. 7. Nightclubs and bars will admit vaccinated clients only. 8. Restaurants are required to close at 1900 hours. 9. All those eligible for COVID-19 vaccination are being called upon to get vaccinated. Government will review these measures after 14 days. Let me reiterate that government requires individuals and communities to continue adhering to all the recommended prevention measures, including social distancing, wearing face masks properly, avoiding closed spaces, washing hands with soap and under running water, sanitizing, and of course, getting fully vaccinated. The country has enough vaccines to go around, with vaccination being done at government expense. Fellow countrymen and women, as I conclude my address, let me draw your attention to recent developments on our bilateral relations with the British government. Only last week, our country, Zimbabwe, became a subject of unmerited focus and debate in the British House of Lords. This British extraterritorial concern by a foreign legislature on a sovereign African state, which is a full and equal member of the United Nations, is grossly unwarranted in terms of tenets of international law and practice. In the ensuing debate by that foreign legislative body with no jurisdiction over our country, a junior minister of Her Majesty's government in charge of Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, one minister, Tariq Mahmoud, revealed that Her Majesty's government has been meeting in Harare with various trade unions, including teaching unions, most recently in September 2021, on salaries and the impact of COVID-19. To us, this brazen disclosure was yet another confirmation of very gross, unwarranted, and blatant interference in the domestic affairs of our country by the British government, contrary to rules and precepts of the Geneva Conventions, which regulate interstate relations. Zimbabwe is a sovereign state, has been since its independence from colonial rule in 1918, which is not even affiliated to the Commonwealth, a body it voluntarily quit over differences related to a just land reform program. Equally, civic groups and teachers employed by the Zimbabwe government to work here in Zimbabwe are not employees of the British government, whether by contract or by remuneration. Their activities, singly or in combination, have nothing to do with the British government or any foreign government for that matter. Because of this brazen, self-confessed violation of our sovereignty and a threat to our national security and stability by the British government, my government will institute full and thorough investigations into this very grave matter. Let me conclude by urging you to keep safe, always adhering to WHO protocols on COVID-19. God bless Zimbabwe. I thank you